Hello! Our topic is class discussion. This presentation is brought to you by the Speaking Center at the University of Mary Washington. This presentation will cover preparing to discuss, leading with 6 considerations for quality discussion, a guide to participation, and online synchronous discussion. Most often, you are discussing in response to some sort of material, an assigned reading or video or the like, so work on class discussion starts before class even begins. Obviously, you know that you actually have to do the reading to take part in a good discussion, but whether you're the leader or a participant, be sure to do more than just skim. Read closely. Make sure you understand key concepts and try looking out for any connections that can be made to previous readings or class sessions. If there's anything you thought was interesting or have questions about, take a note of it so that you'll remember to bring it up in class. Other people might share your thoughts or also need clarification. I would bet that everyone watching this video will have to lead at least one class discussion in the near future. Even after preparing well, this might be intimidating. Many people's minds immediately go to the nightmare scenario. No one is saying anything. There are a lot of things that might go into this, but today we're going to take a look at 6 of the most common reasons why. Number 1. The class might not be ready. By this, I don't mean that they haven't done the preparation, but it's important not to jump right into the thick of things with a really complicated question. Give them a bit of a warm-up. Start with something easy, something opinion-based, like, what did you guys think of the reading? And build your way from there. Number 2. The questions are too simple. When discussing, questions should be open-ended, meaning that they cannot be answered just with a yes or a no or one right answer. Examples of these not-so-great questions might be, do you like the Speaking Center? Or even, who is the director of the Speaking Center? With these, there isn't much to discuss, and students can be thrown off, worried about some kind of a trick question if things seem too simple. Here's an example of a better kind of question you could ask. What could we do at the Speaking Center to improve and better meet your needs? To the exact opposite end of the spectrum, the question might not be understandable. If you ask a question and you just get blank looks, try repeating again. Maybe slower. Maybe you need to break it down. For example, was the moon landing faked? And if so, how does that change science as we know it? This is a multi-step question, and it helps to ask each one at a time. Was the moon landing fake? Then, what would this change? By this simple practice, you break the complicated into something easy. Number 4. You might not be giving enough time. So you've asked your question. It's well thought out, you've simplified it, you've repeated it, nothing's happening. I cannot emphasize this enough. As a discussion leader, silence is your friend. Your classmates might genuinely need a moment to think over what you're asking. You might feel awkward, but own the silence. Stew in it. Because guess what? It makes your classmates feel just as awkward too. Have faith that if the moment goes on long enough, someone will say something. Just don't be the first one to cave. If silence keeps happening and you've done your part, it reflects more on the rest of the class than it does on you. Number 5. They might be waiting for someone else to step in. In every class, there seem to be a few outgoing students who answer every question. This is great, and discussion leaders everywhere thank you for your service. But sometimes the rest of the class doesn't get a chance to speak, or they have an expectation that the more outgoing student will pipe up first, and they don't have to do any work. As a discussion leader, it's your responsibility to pay attention and ask that classmate to step down if you notice this dynamic developing. Phrase this in a kind way, of course, like, Anand's been doing a great job, but I'd like to hear from someone else. If you're in a smaller class where you all kind of know and trust one another, it may be appropriate to call on someone. Number 6. You might not be asking what others want to talk about. I've been in classes where students are fired up and participating. They have a lot to say, and we're having a great discussion about global inequality. And then everyone clams up when asked about the World Bank. Of course, as a leader, it's always acceptable for you to redirect students when they're going off topic. But it's better to cover a few things in depth than cover everything briefly. This goes into my final point for our leadership component. When leading class discussion, remember, this is a discussion, not a dictatorship. You can only control for so much. Sometimes the class will go off in a completely different direction than you expected, and that's okay. Try to stay flexible. The whole reason we have class discussion in the first place is to take what we each know and reach greater understanding together. If you actually find what you're talking about interesting, don't hold back. Show your passion. As the leader, ask questions that you participating would actually want to talk about, as well as whatever else might be required. When participating in class discussion, you still have a role to play. Come prepared and speak up. It's basic reciprocity. You're going to be the leader at some point, and you don't want everyone to be quiet then. Don't be afraid to take risks. We are all different, and we have different things that make us who we are. There might be something only you can point out because of your unique experiences, so definitely take any opportunity. If someone says something you disagree with, do so civilly. Don't talk in terms of feelings. Instead, look for evidence supporting your point in the reading. Even if you're not speaking, practice active listening. This means you show you're paying attention through making eye contact or nodding or etc. This goes doubly so in terms of online class discussion. It's intimidating to be speaking, staring down a list of screens with 40 totally blank faces. Now more than ever, please be kind and make it easy for your fellow students. Speak up, nod, or give them some sort of reaction to work with. Out of courtesy to everyone, tell those you share space with that you will be attending a virtual class discussion, and, politely, they need to be quiet and you can concentrate. Some problems with the internet are unavoidable. Bad connection, program failure, storms and blackouts. Communicate any issues in a timely manner, even in advance if you suspect something might happen. If you know your internet is slow, sit close to where the router is. If at all possible, convince those you share space with to get off any devices with internet connection for an hour. You might have noticed on your video calls already, but it's hard not to interrupt people. There aren't as many of the social cues we're used to that let us predict whether someone is about to speak. I recommend instituting some sort of turn-taking system in discussion. This can be unique or take advantage of the virtual features already available, like the raise hand button. Another possibility? Send a message in the chat letting your classmates know you will be speaking next. Keeping track of the chat can be another part of the discussion leader's job. Now is a great opportunity to try something unconventional for class discussion. Much of these fundamentals I've talked about here will be the same, but all of this is new. You will encounter problems that I haven't even thought of. So go do some observing. Look for problems that you see with class discussion and make suggestions as you go along. Go with the flow and stay flexible to changes. If you've found something that works, let us know in the comments below. If you'd like more information or have any questions, you're encouraged to contact the Speaking Center directly at spkc@umw.edu or bit.ly/umw.spkc. Thank you for watching. I'm Emily, a consultant at the Speaking Center. Be sure to leave a like and smash that subscribe button.